If she likes you, why does she still disappear? Why does she smile at your message, then lose interest the second you become too available? Tonight, I'm going to show you the uncomfortable truth about attraction and why the man she can't stop thinking about is usually the one who gave her just enough, then stepped back. Welcome back to MAGDA KAY Relationship Advices. I'm MAGDA KAY, and in this video, we're going deep into one of the most misunderstood truths about female psychology, why some men get remembered, desired, obsessed over, and others get placed in the safe, sweet, forgettable category almost instantly. Let me say something that might shock you. The more you try to stay on her mind, the faster you disappear from it. And this is where most men fail. They think attraction grows through constant contact. More texting, more checking in, more good morning messages, more effort, more reassurance. They believe that if they keep showing her how much they care, eventually she'll feel the same. But that's not what usually happens. What usually happens is she relaxes too soon. She stops wondering, she stops leaning in, she stops feeling that electric tension that makes attraction come alive. And suddenly, you're not the man she fantasizes about. You're the man she replies to when she's bored. That's the difference. Not because you're not good enough, not because she's evil, but because attraction does not grow from certainty too early. It grows from emotional movement, from tension, from curiosity, from the feeling that there's still something left to discover. Pay attention to this part. Most men are giving women emotional closure before the woman has even earned emotional access. That is the dangerous mistake. Think about any show that kept you awake until 2 in the morning. Why couldn't you stop watching? Because every episode ended with tension, a question, a mystery, a moment that made your mind stay attached. Now compare that to how most men text. They explain everything. They reveal everything. They overstay every conversation. They drag the energy until it becomes flat. No cliffhanger, no emotional charge, no reason for her mind to return to you later. Most guys never realize this. A woman does not usually obsess over the man who is always there. She obsesses over the man who made her feel something, then left space for that feeling to breathe. That doesn't mean ignoring her. It doesn't mean punishing her. It doesn't mean acting cold. It means you stop flooding the connection. You stop trying to control the outcome through over-availability. Because when she already knows you'll be there every time, instantly, no matter what, your presence loses emotional weight. And once your presence loses weight, your absence means nothing too. Read that again in your mind. If your presence has no value, your absence has no power. So what actually keeps you in her head? Not games, emotional gaps. And yes, there's a difference. An emotional gap is when the interaction ends while the energy is still high. When she's still smiling, still curious, still wanting a little more. Not because you vanished to manipulate her, but because your life is genuinely full enough that you don't need to squeeze every drop out of every moment. That energy is magnetic. Let me make this practical. Instead of texting all day, send less, but send better. Instead of checking in constantly, say something that creates emotion. Make her laugh, challenge her lightly, spark imagination, then leave. Not with awkward distance, with calm confidence. A great conversation should feel like a beautiful song. It should not beg for one more verse after the magic is gone. It should end when she still wants to replay it. What she says next changes everything. Because at this point, many men panic and ask, so what? I'm supposed to become unavailable? No. You become asterisk, occupied asterisk. There's a difference. Unavailable is performance. Occupied is power. When a man is deeply focused on his purpose, his body, his standards, his world, he naturally stops chasing every little emotional reward. And women feel that immediately. Because now your attention is not cheap. Now when you show up, it means something. And this is where attraction starts shifting. She texts you at night. You don't respond instantly. Not because you're calculating, but because you were doing something real, you were training. That tells her something your words never could. You are not waiting around for female validation. That is rare, and rare is attractive. But listen carefully. If you pull back on the outside while secretly obsessing on the inside, she will still feel it. If you're staring at your phone, rereading her messages, Timing your response is like a strategy. You've already lost the energy. Women are incredibly sensitive to emotional neediness, even when it's hidden behind cool behavior. So the real shift is not behavioral first, it's internal first. You must actually become the man whose life does not revolve around her attention. That's the truth. Now let's go deeper, because attraction is not only built through mystery, it's also built through contrast. And this is another place where most men destroy chemistry without realizing it. They become too agreeable, too easy, too polite, too eager to please. They laugh at jokes that aren't funny. They agree with opinions they don't respect. They avoid tension because they're terrified of losing the woman. But comfort alone does not create desire. And this is where most men fail. They think being endlessly nice will make her feel safe enough to choose them. But often, it makes her feel nothing. Because chemistry needs polarity. It needs edge. It needs the feeling that you are your own person. So yes, sometimes you should disagree with her. Not rudely, not arrogantly, not to dominate her. But honestly, if she says something you don't agree with, don't betray yourself just to keep the mood soft. Smile. Stay warm, then say, interesting, I actually see that completely differently. That one sentence does more than 100 good morning texts ever will. Why? Because now you're real. Now you're not performing. Now you're showing her that your mind doesn't bend just to keep her approval. And that creates respect. Respect deepens intrigue. Intrigue feeds attraction. She starts thinking about you after the conversation ends because you created friction. Not toxic friction, psychological friction. The kind that makes her replay the moment. The kind that makes her wonder, why does he feel different from other men? That question is powerful. Because once a woman starts asking herself questions about you, you've entered her mental space. And once you're in her mental space, attraction can grow even when you're not there. Now here comes the part most men completely underestimate: shared emotional experiences. A woman may forget 100 generic dates. She may forget what restaurant you went to. She may forget what you wore, but she will not easily forget how you made her feel in a moment that felt different from her normal life. This is why unique experiences matter. Not expensive, not flashy, different. Take her somewhere unexpected. Talk to her about something real. Create a moment that feels slightly cinematic, a late night walk, a hidden viewpoint, a conversation about fear, purpose, childhood, desire, regret, something that breaks the script. Because ordinary interactions get stored in ordinary memory. But emotionally distinct moments, those stay. That's when you stop being another contact in her phone and start becoming an atmosphere in her mind. And now we arrive at one of the most powerful psychological triggers of all. I call it the asterisk, future ghost, asterisk. Use this carefully. The future ghost is when you plant a small image of the two of you in a future moment without forcing it, without locking it in, without sounding needy. You say things like, you would love this place when it opens. One day I'm taking you there when the weather is right. There's a book you need to read. I'll bring it next time. You'd actually be dangerous on that hiking trail. I need to see this. Do you feel what that does? It creates a future memory before the future arrives. Now your presence exists, not only in her present, but in her imagination. And imagination is where obsession grows. She starts wondering, will that happen? Did he mean it? When is the next time? Should I bring it up? Did he forget? Or is he waiting? That is psychological imprinting. Not because you promised her something, but because you opened a loop in her mind, and open loops are powerful, but here's the warning. If you overuse this, it becomes fake. If you say it too often, it loses its magic. If you use it without real chemistry, it feels scripted, so keep it rare, natural, strategic. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where men become emotional and ruin everything. A lot of men pull back for 2 days, then panic. They don't hear from her. Their anxiety spikes and they rush back in with more messages, more effort, more energy. The moment they feel uncertainty, they betray their own frame. And she feels it. This is the dangerous mistake. If you create space, you must let the space breathe. Not forever, not in a childish way, but long enough for reality to reveal itself. Sometimes that means a woman begins leaning toward you. Sometimes it means she doesn't. And if she doesn't, that information is valuable, because the point is not to manipulate someone into wanting you. The point is to stop performing for people who are never truly invested. That lesson alone will save you months, even years of emotional exhaustion. Most guys never realize this. The process is not only about making her think about you, it's about discovering whether she was ever going to choose you in the first place. And that changes your whole mindset. Now, instead of chasing certainty, you start building value. You go harder in the gym, you sharpen your style, you expand your world, you improve your energy, you become more centered, more selective, more alive. Then something interesting happens. When you reappear, you don't feel like the same man anymore, and she feels that too. Maybe she sees it in your presence, maybe in your body language, maybe in the way you speak slower now, maybe in how little you need to impress her, but she notices, and that's when the real shift happens. She starts wondering if she underestimated you. She starts sensing that while she was busy assuming you'd always be there, you were becoming someone harder to ignore. That feeling hits hard. Because women don't just respond to attention, they respond to value they feel they might lose. And no, this is not about ego. This is about human psychology. People obsess over what feels unfinished. They value what doesn't come too easily. They replay what made them feel deeply but left room for interpretation. That's why the man she can't stop thinking about is rarely the loudest man, rarely the most available man, rarely the man trying the hardest. It's the man who created emotion, held his shape, and refused to collapse into desperation. That man stays with her, not because he begged to be remembered, because he gave her something her mind wanted to return to. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this: stop trying to be the man who is constantly seen. Become the man who is deeply felt. That changes everything, because in the end, the goal is not to trick a woman into obsession. The goal is to become so grounded, so emotionally attractive, so compelling in your own life that thinking about you becomes natural, not forced, not manipulated, natural. And once you understand that, you stop chasing attention. You start becoming unforgettable. If this hit you deeply, comment the word obsession below. I want to see who's truly paying attention. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for *** Magda Kay relationship advices if you want more videos on female psychology, attraction, confidence, and modern dating dynamics. And don't stop here. Go watch the next video, because what you learn next may explain the exact reason women pull away even when they like you.